your degenerate power hour, your late night golden shower. Too ill to be sick, so thick you can't split. That carnival spin with the rictus grin. I'm Joel, he's BMO, and this is Vagrants and Vandals Radio. Another week. So how do you feel coming off your big verbal joust with Jason in episode 3?
I feel like I got my point across.
What point was that?
That he's an asshole, and he did some shady shit, and he only tried to cover that up by making me look like shit by telling a bunch of stories about me. So he know what he did.
All right. So in essence, you feel you did no wrong. You guys were equally wrong.
I didn't say that. I mean, I did plenty wrong. But that was somewhat out of my control. So, you know.
What do you mean it was somewhat out of your control?
I had no monies. I had to go. You know how it is?
Yeah, but how'd you get to that point? You had control over how you got to that point.
If you say so. You say so. I was doing what I had to do to get by.
You're essentially arguing that at any point an individual can claim, "Hey."
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That was a classic. Hey, remember Jason called me. He's like, "Well, where are you?" I'm like, "I'm up in a while, so I'm not coming back."
It was that night?
I think it was. I got like 30 phone calls from him, never picked up. Just kept sending him a voicemail. I think I called him the next day, or maybe he called me. Like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, yeah, I don't live there anymore.
Yeah, and that's the point at which it's like when you got to call someone 30 times, because under those circumstances, you guys had gone out to dinner, you checked out early, things had clearly been rocky.
Now, I'm not proud of the dinner thing, but I had to go along with it. It would look really suspicious if I was like, oh, no, I'm good. I don't want you to buy me chicken wings and beer. I'm going to get my free chicken wings and my free beer.
Yeah, I hear you.
And get the fuck out of Dodge.
I hear you. But definitely, it's like I understand how angry he must have been or how betrayed he must have felt.
He was
but
angry.
It's like after 30 phone calls, let's say it was even 10.
That was way more than that. You know, Jason was hanging up and literally redialing right away.
I mean, I know the genetic
Getting
stock
madder
we come
every
from.
time he hears a voicemail.
Sure, and it's just like, yeah, at that point, it's like, well, did he leave you a bunch of voicemails?
I would imagine. I'm sure I stopped listening to them.
Yeah, because it's like once you've left your angry voicemails, at a certain point, it's like, all right, like you know what's happened.
Well, if you know me, and obviously he did, you know that I'm not gonna respond to that shit. I'm just like, whatever, dude. I'm out of town, bro. I'm 2 hours away. Get over it.
Yeah, it's like at a certain point you got to just be like, well, it sucks, and I'm pissed off, but I said my piece, and I got to just formulate a plan of how to deal with this situation.
I forgot to bring up last week that when I talked about his hands not being clean.
Yeah.
I forgot. I couldn't remember what I was referencing there when I initially made that claim. But it was about him kicking in the apartment fucking door.
When did that happen?
It was during the money issues. So I know I was behind that money.
Uh-huh.
And he got drunk because I worked midnights. So obviously he was still working. But I remember he got drunk and came home and fucking didn't have his keys, or for whatever reason lost his keys. Kicked our whole fucking door in, or ran right through the door. And I come home, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, Jesus Christ. He's like laying on the couch, drunk, half naked. You motherfucker, at least I pay my bill, blah, that's my fucking door, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, whatever, dude. Suck my ass. How about that? I'm like, you blew the whole fucking frame in, like, and you're acting like that's okay. Why? Because I'm behind on bills? Like, I'm still not responsible for that shit? Like, fuck you. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
You know what was funny about that whole stretch? It's like, when you first took off, you know, like, I mean, me and you, like, it's kind of like me and Ryan, like, we're cousins, but we've always kind of been more like brothers, so,
yeah.
Like, when you took off, I'm like, it was almost like you don't want to be in the middle of a sibling rivalry,
right.
You know? It's like, because logically, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty shady what you pulled, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, what do you want?
And like a brother, you know he'll get over it, and he did.
And that's part of it. But you know what sucked? It was like, for me at first, it was like, God damn, I'm like, he just took off and he's gone. It's like, we're not going to be able to hang out anymore. No playing NHL.
I didn't fly to a different country. I was fucking 2 hours north.
Yeah, but like at the time, like we're talking, this is back in late 2005.
It did seem like a long way away. Like, the 2 hours seemed like I was, like, seriously in a whole different place, like...
Yeah, but, like, looking at, like, where each of us were in our lives at that time, like, okay, you remember, like, that was right. That happened, because I remember the night I got kicked out of my dad's, Thanksgiving 05.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different story, I'll tell that sometime. But that night, I ended up at your guys' place.
Right.
And things were not going well for you.
No need to delve into the story again. God,
I'm not
dude.
trying to delve into the story
we always come back to this.
No, I'm just...
All roads lead back to this fucking story, all right? You know, the viewers are familiar with the story.
Listen, there was a lot of dynamics going on. That's all I'm saying. That night in particular, Thanksgiving night, I got kicked out of my home. I got escorted out of my home by 7 police officers. I show up with my life in a backpack. And I stayed on your guys' shit couch. Man, how did Durf even sleep on that couch? That padding on the couch was so thin, you could feel the metal rails coming through on your
That couch
back.
was a piece of shit.
Awful.
Was it a black one?
It was like a futon,
Yeah,
right?
dude. I remember it being just horribly uncomfortable.
Not good. But there was just so much going on, and so it was shortly thereafter.
It was about as comfortable as you're going to get for $50 a week.
I guess I should consider myself lucky. I got one free night on it. So yeah, just looking at that back at that time in our lives, I was in my last year at Eastern. Okay, like, I mean, Jason was delivering pizzas, so I'm at Eastern. I had a part-time job or two. You were obviously in and out of work, so it's not like to just pick up and drive 2.5, 3 hours almost to like go see. Like that wasn't really
2 hours.
Wasn't all that feasible, really. Just like, hey, I'm gonna drive up 2 hours. You're gonna drive down so we can play NHL.
Hey, these females didn't mind doing it, bro. Come and get me, take me back. Come and get me, take me back.
Yeah, well, they had a different relationship with you. There's more to delve in there, but we'll save it for another time. But the one story I wanted to touch on. So this would have been that following winter 06 at some point. I was over at the old apartment Jason still lived in. Mm-hmm. And now that I got to thinking about it, who the hell moved in with Jason after
Brad
that?
did.
That's right, he did.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Right.
Oh, Flinty moved in.
That's right. Okay, so they were living together, and things pretty much proceeded after the fact. After you moved out, as they had, there was drunken hoopla over there. Well, you may remember this. We're over there the one night, and as we discussed on the last podcast, you'd left everything,
right, including
your prized fleshlight.
I don't know if it was prized. I left it, but
all right. So for those who don't know, describe what a fleshlight is.
It's a pocket pussy essentially, but it's like more like upgraded one.
Like encased.
It was disguised as a giant flashlight.
Poorly disguised.
Right, horribly disguised. But you unscrew the lid and there's like a weird like pink soft molded vagina. Peak of human technology, in my opinion. It was amazing.
So you had left that.
Worth every penny. Every penny spent.
$40?
I can't remember. Jason it was buy 2, get 1 free. I don't know why anyone would need 3 of them.
What a deal.
But I remember Jason being like, well, you want to go in, we'll each buy one and then... Or he was going to give me a deal where he was paying a little bit more to me because he's going to have 2 of them. He was going to have the asshole replicator as well. Like,
this is my pocket pussy for the weekdays. This is my girl on the weekends.
He had a vagina and an asshole, bro. He's a weirdo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what it was? Oh, well, there's a reason to have 2.
I promise you he was filling that one with that asshole one with fucking chocolate syrup. So living out some sick fantasy.
So there was a night I'm over there. Now, at this point in my life, I still didn't drink. So people may say, well, what was my excuse? I didn't have one.
Brain damage.
I was just off kilter.
It was broken.
So I don't know how it got started. Your fleshlight.
Unclean, by the way.
Unclean. You ain't kidding, because there was shrapnel in there. There was moldy shrapnel. Looked like moldy, fuzzy shrapnel.
Have you ever seen Basket Case?
No, I've never actually watched it.
But you know the thing I'm talking
it's
about?
Like a little,
yeah, that's what I imagine you guys open it up and that thing crawling out. He's like, hey.
So we had this night where it was me, Jason, a few people he worked at Tiffany's with, which I later would, like a month or so later, would start there. And we broke out the fleshlight, and Jason and I started... Yeah. We started whipping it at each other.
Very unsanitary.
And at one point, I think he hit me in the face, like right here on my cheek with it. and he ran to his bedroom. Wow, you remember those, like this door.
Right.
And me at the
You
time.
can fly right through that. If
So
you want to.
Jason shut it, and I told him, I was like, open this door. I was like, you just hit me in the face with this. You're getting your receipt.
Ew, that. Ugh.
Or else I'm coming through that door.
That flashlight touched your face.
It did. It hit me right, I think right on my cheek. Yeah.
My genitals have been in that thing.
Yeah, I'm aware. I put
then
that together.
Expelled what they do, and then that touched your
That
face.
expelled spunk.
The residue.
So Jason, of course, doesn't open the door
Yeah,
willingly.
that BMO goo on you.
So what did I do? I charged at that door, flashlight in hand. I charged that door, put my shoulder into it, crack, and I hear Jason inside go, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I warned you." Like, what? And people could listen to this and be like, "Yeah, what was wrong with you?" But here's my argument. We were brothers. We grew up together. He knew precisely what was wrong with me, and he knew damn well I was going to purposely run through that door if he didn't open it. So for him to be shocked was kind of ridiculous.
It's my own semen, and I'm still kind of grossed out by it.
Well, but
How
you remember,
fucking nasty.
you remember, so that whole night became known as the night of the knuckle children. Because remember, I called you repeatedly, leaving you messages how your knuckle children were running wild and knuckle children.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
You know, Jason was like, when we were growing up, Jason was like a straight A student. He was definitely a parent pleaser. Didn't get in a whole lot of trouble when we were kids. And, I mean, I was more like a C student. I did better, like, when I got to high school.
Not this guy.
I mean, I always had issues with paying attention. Had I been alive, a kid now, they'd be like, "Oh, ADHD all day."
Dude, they thought I was mentally retarded in first grade. Had me go get tested. My mom was like in
I
tears.
forgot about that.
Then they realized I was just fucking lazy. Like, oh, he's not retarded. He's just lazy. Oh.
So wait, how did that work? They were like, "Hey, we want you to."
No,
on,
I don't
sonny.
actually remember the test. I just remember my mom telling me the story of them telling her, like, we think there might be something wrong with him. We want to get him tested. Like, he might have learning disabilities and this and that. And then I'm pretty sure I aced all the fucking tests. And they were like, oh, this motherfucker just lazy as fuck.
They're like,
I pretended to sleep in class, bro.
Yeah,
like comatose sleep. Like, no matter what you did, I'd fall off the chair onto the floor and continue to be asleep. Straight up faking it. So people were just like, whatever.
That's a new level of lazy right there. So I can imagine they say around like, "Good news, no learning disability."
Not retarded.
Bad news, lazy as fuck. In fact, we think he's not only fake sleeping, but falling out of his chair in order to convince us. And ma'am, let me tell you, we are not convinced. We're calling in CPS.
She probably felt the same way when I got kicked out of karate. Because they said I was too uncoordinated for it. The look of shame on her face. Thank God my father was never around. I didn't have to suffer through the look on his face of this is not my child.
There we go. We're getting to some deep therapy sessions
Oh,
now.
hey.
Okay.
Anyone who knows me knows I got daddy issues, bro.
Let's move on to our actual planned content for the episode. All right, so I love.
Ooh, I got that one feeling that you get from that first beer. It feels so good. It's like being hugged by a loved one.
I'd like the viewers to know Brandon's literally caressing his stomach as he said all of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
weighed in yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Gained 7 pounds.
You gained
I'm
7?
so
Just in a
fucking
week?
mad. Yeah. Well, they say your weight fluctuates based on your water by like 5 pounds.
Sure, but you're trying to like.
But I had like Miss. I forgot, I can't say names. One of the secretaries. I had done a favor for her. Like I came up on a Saturday.
You can make up
school.
aliases.
That's
As long as you tell me it's an alias, I'm good with it.
It's just a secretary. It doesn't really matter.
Wow. Okay.
I don't mean it like that. I mean like
you all mad a bitch?
secretary will do. Real sweet old lady. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. I gotta stop myself. It was totally off topic. But anyway, so I go up there and do her a favor. Her husband's got
Sexually?
no, that's why I stopped myself.
Okay.
Just very attractive 60-year-old woman. Like it's almost ridiculous.
Okay.
Like ridiculous. But
So
actually, I played hockey with her son. And on the Scorpions as Xanadu.
Jesus.
Again, off topic.
Wow.
Anyways, I go up there, let her into school. I think she had to get like eggs out of the fridge or something. It was like a long holiday. She had shit in the fridge. She had to get out so it didn't stink over Easter. So I go let her in. So she says she's gonna make me cookies.
that a euphemism?
No. They were delicious.
What kind of cookies?
Chocolate chip pecan. They were fucking good. But
Yeah.
it took her like weeks to make them. And by the time like she got around to making them, I was already like gung-ho in the diet. So I was like treating myself to one a day.
Yeah.
One cookie while I was working. So I'm working to work that shit off. But I just knew. I could just tell this week. I was like, I didn't drink as much water. I had a couple cups of coffee, which I put a lot of sugar in my coffee. If you know how I am with that shit, it's like 5 and 5. It used to be 10 and 5. Or 5 creams, 10 sugars. They used to laugh at me at fucking Tim Hortons. How embarrassing. Like 5 and 10. They're like, what? 10 sugars? Like, we don't even know if we legally can do that.
You're like, I'm the customer. I'm always right.
You might die. I'm like, also give me a couple of sour cream glazed donuts. That's how I do. You ever had those?
What are they again?
Sour cream glazed donuts.
Sour cream?
Yes.
No.
Oh, dude. Life changing.
Yeah, I bet.
Not in a good way. Hey, if you have ugly feet and you don't want to see them anymore, get on the sour cream glaze and coffee diet. You'll be just fine.
Okay.
But anyway, so she brings me the cookies, and like I said, I was snacking on those, and I don't know, I just had some weak moments. I had a root beer float, half a root beer float one day.
Half?
Yeah, well, because I haven't drank pop in so long that I literally drank that pop, and I could feel my guts like, what the fuck are you doing? So I gave that to one of the kids, and
when you get off that kind of sugar, so I went a year, I didn't have any pop whatsoever, and even so, drinking pop or like high C or something, it was like I had to pace myself drinking it because halfway into a cup, say average cup at a fast food restaurant, my stomach would start to cramp up.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was because of the ice cream too, because I mixed my root beer floats up. You know, I just mix them all up.
Sugar.
Oh, it tasted so good, but yeah, like halfway through, I'm like, April's looking at me. I'm just like, I don't feel good. I'm like, I thought maybe because I drink beer, it's still carbonated, but it's not as many sugars.
All right, so
sugars fuck me up.
Bottom line, you're back up to like 315 now.
Yeah. I'm not pleased, but I don't want to be the type of person who only shares in the success and not the setbacks from it. Because as I've stated, I'm a humanitarian, and I don't want anyone thinking that I got it easy. I'm out here struggling like all you normal folk, all right? I'm out here struggling.
I don't think anyone who listened to our first 3 episodes are going to doubt that you're not willing to air it all out.
And I saved a dog yesterday, so, there's that. Humanitarian.
That's all right.
Saved a dog's life.
Seemed like that was here nor there compared to the weight
for all
gain.
you dog lovers, I'm out there losing the weight and saving the pups. That's how I do.
Okay. Let's get into it for this episode, though. So, one thing I love to do with these podcasts is find news stories about cryptids, weird stuff, odd stuff, interesting stuff, and a little segment we like to call Wild and Crazy News.
Damn.
I just made that up.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that. I think I have a heart palpitation. What the fuck?
So for listeners, like, they don't get to see the facial expressions I do.
Lucky for you.
You know what? I purposely exaggerate them just to try and get you to laugh.
You should have been here for that long-winded ass story from episode 1. Fuck.
I wasn't making faces during that, but like when I do like the segment intros or the intro at the top, I mean, I am playing that up to the 10s just to get a reaction.
Right, there's no camera on you. Why are you acting like that? Because I'm the only one here.
Because it translates through the microphone. I notice a lot of times when I do it, you aren't even looking at me.
I'm
You're like looking at the floor, like, this is awkward.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. I don't think people understand it. Like, when you have a conversation, like, we've known each other our entire lives, and we're just normally talking. Like, yeah, like, I'm going to look at you, and I'm not planning, like, what things I want to say. I'm not thinking ahead of the conversation. But here, I got this fucking goddamn red rocket hanging on my fucking face.
Oh, we're going to get to that red rocket.
Short of a nutsack being here along with it. And yeah, you just want to think ahead in the conversation about what you're going to say and things you want to make fun of.
There's a balance. You gotta obviously have a blueprint, but you also got to have a certain amount of go with the flow.
I also have told people, like, there's more to it than you think.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just talking. Like, there's a flow and a rhythm, because, people will talk shit like, he dominates the conversation, blah, blah, blah.
People said that to you?
Yeah, I've had it said multiple times. I'm like, well,
who said this?
I don't want to name names.
I want to know.
Jay, Andrew, April, I can't say her name. So pretty much anyone who's listened that knows me but doesn't know you.
That name that you wouldn't say, is that your ex-girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
But I think she would.
Coworker then?
Yeah. One of my favorite teachers.
God damn.
But in your defense, I told him, I'm like, he's leading the conversation, and
yeah, you mind.
You know what I mean? Like, and you have a better voice than me. Like, I can't do some of the things you can do, so it makes no sense for me to be the lead in the conversation. I'm here to plug in funny whenever the opportunity arises.
Well, I mean, hey, I'll take it as a criticism. That many people said it. Like, I hadn't thought the first 3 episodes had been that heavy-handed, especially.
It probably has something to do with a 35-minute story where you talk without taking a breath, which is amazing in and of itself. But
and you know what? Going into that episode, I thought I love this story, but I think it might be a little.
God,
long.
I was not a fan.
No, you didn't.
There's nothing about that story I liked. Now, there was no actual monster. Just a couple weirdos doing some weird shit in the woods.
But here's the thing, like, even so, after the fact, after I listened to the episode and after I heard the same thing from you, I thought, yeah, it was too long, and that's fine. But damn, it dominates the. I really didn't feel like that.
In fact, Jay said, this is Jay's first comment about the podcast. Yeah. He walks up, I don't even ask him, like, hey, did you listen to it? He says, fuck, your cousin really likes the sound of his own voice. I started laughing. I'm like, he sure fucking does.
Jay, guilty as charged. I do. And it ain't just me. I see it in my son, Lincoln. Loves watching videos of himself. I'm like, damn, he's just like me.
I mean, I listen to the podcast after they're released. Yeah. I like to take notes and see what I may have fucked up on, where I can work to make things better. But I like to listen once for enjoyment.
Sure.
And not take any notes, just see if like it's just fresh, like I just hear it for the first time. Second time is usually for taking notes and whatnot. I just did exactly what you told me not to do, clicking on that motherfucking table. And then maybe if I get drunk one night, I'll throw it on one more time for laughs again.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, it's all a process.
Because there was parts of that last episode with Jason that made me laugh out loud pretty good.
And that's the thing, like, when, I don't want to get too thick into this, because we're now over 20 minutes
I know we're
talking about shit. Like, whenever you edit anything, and for those of you who don't know, my day job, I do a lot of video editing. And it's like, as it's happening, you don't get to experience it like a viewer would. As you're editing it, not experiencing it or consuming it like a viewer or a listener would. So for me, when I'm doing this stuff, I do probably listen to it like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And that's just a matter of going through the process, making your edits, and then finally listening to it for enjoyment and some note taking.
I used to remember for Mud Puppets Radio, it'd be nice because you would do it real quick, like at least give me like a hard copy, not a hard copy, but an unedited. So I'd listen to it on the way home. Like sit there for 2 hours and do the podcast, and then drive home an hour and listen to that shit on the way home and just laugh.
It does definitely takes a certain amount of vanity to go through this process.
Certainly.
You gotta like yourself.
Certainly.
Which is strange coming from people with depression and mental health issues.
Exactly.
Hey, we're complicated.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say you like yourself in one second. You admire yourself, but you also loathe yourself.
Hey, our brains are strange creatures. All right, so for all of you out there, Jay, Andrew, April, other unnamed folks, I'll try and do better, okay? And Andrew, you could fucking say it to me, man. Like, you have we talk fairly frequently.
Oh, me and Andrew make fun of you all the fucking time, man. Dude. We make fun of you all the time.
I mean, Jay's one thing. I haven't met Jay, but Andrew...
But again, Andrew's known you his whole life, so everything always resorts back to when we were kids.
Same thing. I feel like Andrew's as close as a brother to me.
Like, if you do something now, we will reference something you did exactly like that when you were a kid. Just to be like, this motherfucker ain't changed a bit.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get to this news that I introduced 5 minutes ago. So, first story that interested me, and I promise these stories are not as long as the first one.
They'll only be 20 minutes each. You'll be fine.
No, these are short. This is an article from Popular Mechanics, which apparently is a publication that has a number of interesting articles. Headline here reads, "A massive blue hole just opened up near Mexico. New life forms may be inside." Now,
nice.
That's a tantalizing headline. I'm going to go ahead off the hop and tell you,
well,
ain't a big payoff.
Well, it's always like bacteria that they didn't know about, which I'm okay with. I think it's just as important as them. Well, not maybe as important as finding a new mammal or something. But
but when they write these headlines, they write it saying, make it sound like there's aliens.
Of course, it's aliens or Bigfoot's down there in the fucking
I wanted to show you this picture, because it is a cool
I've seen that before. Okay. I thought that's what you were talking about. Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
So these are natural structures, and there are several of these around the world.
It's weird. Let me see that again. Yeah, it's so weird. There's water around it, like that's the seabed.
Yep.
And then boom,
Plumbers.
it's like a ton, like a chute.
Yep. So there, I'll go through
What
this
is
real
lurking
quick.
down in that motherfucker? Scary shit.
The mysterious world of blue holes just got a bit more intriguing, thanks to the discovery of what is now considered the world's second deepest blue hole. Guided by tips from fishermen, scientists from, I'm going to try and put a Spanish spin on this, Colegio de la Frontera Sur.
That sounded Italian.
They did a little bit. Explored a tropical estuary off the southeastern coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico and found a blue hole. It spans 147,000 square feet across and dips 900 feet down.
How much is that in, like, miles? Like a mile across, 2 miles across?
You know what? I should have looked that up. I'm not sure.
Like, is that like the size of Bear Lake?
I don't know. We'd have to look it up.
Like, I wonder.
Go ahead and Google it while I read if you want. The world's largest blue hole, so here's another one. It's known as the Dragon Hole in the South China Sea. It isn't much deeper than this newly discovered one. It clocks in at around 980 feet in depth. Unsurprisingly, the scientist names their new discovery the Tiamaja Blue Hole, using the Mayan language phrase for deep water. While the new blue hole was discovered in 2021, so 2 years ago.
How much did you say?
147,000 square feet.
So this is saying 43 miles.
Whoa!
It says 70, a small atoll, 70 kilometers, 43 miles.
Wow.
How big is the blue hole?
So that's
roughly
enormous.
300 meters, 1,000 feet across, and 125, 400 feet deep.
1,000 feet across?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Much
fucking
more
big.
digestible.
It's fucking big, though.
A big hole, yeah. The researchers only recently detailed their findings in a study published in Frontiers in Marine Science. With a circular opening near the surface just 15 feet below sea level, the steep 80-degree plus slopes form a large conic structure the scientists say is covered by biofilms, sediments, limestone, and gypsum ledges.
And the Kraken.
No word if there's knuckle children. Studying the microbial...
Oh, you tell me there's not knuckle children and there are people banging in that hole, bro.
Oh,
If I go to that hole and I'm swimming in it, I'm also fucking in it.
I don't know about that. And they get into some sciencey stuff here. We probably don't need to read all that. But the article goes on to say, like, our knowledge of these blue holes is limited. There's all sorts of, like... They create, like, a unique... biodiversity there because of the varying oxygen levels. Right. It says here, with the openings of blue holes being below sea level, which I think that's interesting, the karst walls block tidal flows, creating a unique mixture of water properties within the hole.
I feel like there'd be like a waterfall within that, like...
Oh, like underwater
like the water that's flowing right at that sea level, and then all of a sudden it drops down. I feel like it'd just be a giant waterfall, which you kind of can see sometimes when they show those things because it's the sediment or the sand moving.
Yeah.
It makes you can actually see the water flowing down.
So what I think stuff to do with lakes and oceans is fascinating, and that actually led me to a question. Maybe my only like irrational fear is deep water.
Not a fan.
You're not a fan of deep water?
Like deep water or open water.
Oh yeah.
I remember when we used to go up north with Uncle Scott on the pontoon boats, and we'd jump in on.
And we're talking Hamlin Lake.
Hamlin Lake, yeah.
Which is an inland lake per se that flows into Lake Michigan.
But I remember like he'd always have like maybe the anchor thrown off, and you have that rope going down.
Yep.
And I always remember jumping in the water off the boat, and I'd go down and I'd like hold on to that rope for a little bit. And I remember thinking, like, looking down and just in my mind's eye, just seeing like a giant sea creature.
Yep.
Mouth open, and I'm on a fucking line like a goddamn worm, dude, just waiting to get eaten, and just being like, fuck this shit, to the surface and back on that boat.
Yeah, I forget the name of the fear. I forgot to look it up. But there is like a phobia of deep water.
It's scary shit.
It bugs the shit out of me because for the most part in my life, I've been like pretty fearless. I've always been a bit of a daredevil. And I mean, obviously I'm older now, but the water thing is getting worse as I get older. And even a couple summers ago when we were up in Ludington, like just swimming in Lake Michigan. So we're talking at the beach, entering the water. I will, like, my own psychology starts to mess with me. If I get to about 4 feet deep, I'm like, I don't know about going any deeper. And it's not even a fear of like, oh, I can't swim. I can swim as well as the next person.
Watch too many horror movies, bro. Shit grabbing your feet. And
so a few summers back, we were out on Lake Erie. And our buddy John was, we were tubing. And I'm on the stupid tube, You getting a phone call? Is that important?
It's Dent.
It's Denthead. All right, well, fuck it. Let's take it. I'll get to these stories later. What's up, dude?
Nah, shit, what's up?
You call right in the middle of the episode, so you on the air with Vagrants and Vandals Radio.
Well, that's what I figured. I was gonna pull the old "don't call me, I'll call you."
All right, well, you were successful.
I didn't want technical difficulties to give me shafted for 2 weeks. Come on now.
Jesus Christ. All right, so...
He was in the middle of a long-winded story yet again.
I wasn't... I was telling a personal story. I wasn't reading a story. I'm not going to be chastised for having the gift of gab, you son of a bitch. All right.
Anything over a couple minutes, Brandon reaches his limit there, man.
That's right.
All right, so, hey, you had some story you wanted to share about some Canadians you ran into at the bar?
Oh, yeah, I was just up at the local bar. Shit, this is a couple weeks ago, I feel like now. But, yeah, I'm up there, and I'm by myself. I just get a beer and pizza. I'm, like, watching the basketball games and the hockey game. And these people come in. It's, like, 10:15, and they ask for food. And the bartender's like, oh, no, kitchen just closed, which I had previously heard them say the kitchen didn't close till 10:30. So I'm, like, kind of like, damn, I've been in that boat. That sucks. So I'm, like, hearing the dude behind me just, like, complain about how hungry he is. He's starving. They came up there to get food. I got, like, 3/4 of a large pizza that I got, and it's sitting in front of me, and I'm like, hey, dude, I'm like, if you guys want this, you can have it. Just slide it over. Oh, no, man, no, we're good. I'm thinking, like, I just heard you talk for 10 minutes about how hungry you were. And, like, keep in mind, the pizza's still on the stainless steel pan, still hot. Like, it's like, dude, what am I going to do to this?
They were like, I don't know, man, this is Metro Detroit.
Exactly, and that's kind of, and then I kept kind of eavesdropping, and that's kind of like the vibe I got. Like, they did, it's like, dude,
they were
the
suspicious
real
because
world
you're
ain't
eating
fucking,
alone.
it ain't TikTok, dude.
Fucking
On
does that.
TikTok, I'd have been praised and been given a hug.
So, were you up there by yourself?
Yeah, I was just up there getting dinner.
Maybe
dude.
that
And
was
they
it.
had a
By
special for
yourself. What are you going to
pizza.
see, a movie after that? By yourself?
Damn.
Hey, I go to a movie by myself. I don't care, dude.
So, was this, how many were in this group?
Like 5 people, but only the 3 dudes were like the ones complaining about not getting food. And it wasn't like I heard one thing. Like, I listened to them for at least 10 minutes griping about how, man, we came here to eat.
He's trying to be
And it's
humanitarian like his big brother, but he can't do it.
So, it was 3 dudes and 2 chicks?
Yeah, 3 guys and 2 of them had girlfriends with them.
Okay. Maybe the one lone dude in the group, he saw you were there by himself. He thought maybe you were just trying to get some gay tail or something.
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just sitting there quiet.
Andrew's like, who's
maybe
saying I
drinking my
wasn't?
beer. I don't really give off that vibe. I hope not.
Man, you never know what people might be thinking. Did you get any idea where they were coming from and what part of Canada they were from?
No, I really didn't hear that, but I know they were talking about driving to Tennessee for a wedding, which I'm like thinking like, damn, that's kind of a far drive, but this was their first stop, I believe. And then by the end of the conversation, I hear the one guy, he starts like proclaiming like he saved the day. Well, I found a place we can get food. And then the one girlfriend's like, well, what's it called? The guy's like, Checkers. and then she's like, well, what do they have there? I'm thinking like shitty ass fucking burgers and like, just generic fast food. But you guys go enjoy that. I'll take my fucking good pizza home. Like,
hey man, the Checkers has got those seasoned fries though.
Yeah, it's about the only they have that's good.
I mean, if you get them from the grocery store, they're pretty good. I like getting them from there, but I don't know, man. I try not to eat a lot of fast food. You guys were just talking last week about your stomachs being fucked up, and it's like, dude, I'm younger than you guys, and I'm in the same boat. Like,
Yeah.
if I eat cookies and milk before bed, dude, I fucking might as well just plan on waking up feeling like shit.
Yeah, dude. In recent months, I've been wondering. I'm like, man, am I like? Well, my dad and my dad's diabetic, and Jason's borderline diabetic. So I've been wondering. I'm like, am I just getting to a point where I'm borderline diabetic? Anytime I eat anything greasy, a lot of times when I eat dairy now, my stomach's messed up. I'm like, what the hell's going on with me?
Dairy keep me shitting, dude. Constantly.
Yeah, dude, I woke up yesterday morning, I wake up and, like, my stomach's all fucked up. And then, I turn on the news and, oh, yeah, there's a boil water advisory for Romulus and Easter. And I had no idea, dude. And I'm, like, trying to tell people, I'm like, dude, well, you were probably drinking beer and eating cookies and milk. I'm like, yes, I did do that. But, like, when I woke up, dude, I know, like, a sour stomach from, like, dude, I don't know, I didn't feel right. And then I'm like researching shit. They're like, yeah, you definitely shouldn't be consuming any of the water. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, I feel fine now, so I don't think it was E. coli or nothing, but fuck.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm having all sorts of issues, and most days I'm just like, well, I mean, I don't know, I'm probably dying.
Called getting fucking old, boys.
Exactly.
And I just go with it. Well, you know what? I went last year. I went to my primary care physician. I went to a neurologist because I've had this problem with my legs ever since I had COVID the first time 2 years ago. I got this weakness in my legs and just a general fatigue. And I go, they do all sorts of tests. They're like poking me with these, they put electrodes on me and then they're like stabbing me with these little push pins. And they found nothing. Butt kiss, dick.
You should inquire, ask them about getting like a Lyme disease test, because some of that shit, dude, people like live for you, dude. Like
Get the
UFC
Lyme, bro?
fighter, dude had Lyme disease for like 7 years fighting professionally. He had no idea. He's just wondering why he feels like shit. And yeah, he got Lyme disease from a tick. And I only know so much about it because the fucking ticks are terrible.
He's like, I've got Lyme disease.
Like 3 nights ago, I'm like running my hand through my kid's hair, and I feel something hard, and I knew right away what it was. Had a damn tick right in the back of her ear. And I'm sitting there like, oh fuck, because I can't stand the thing, letting bought spray and all this other shit.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I'm like freaking out because I'm like, dude, one tick bite can give you something for the rest of your life that they can't treat. Like they can't, like you're just stuck with it.
Yeah, you get that shit where you're allergic to red meat. But a tick that causes you, once it bites you, it makes you allergic to red meat. You can't eat it.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on Joe Rogan.
That's scary shit.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like,
So if I were to go to the doctor, like, yep, you got Lyme disease. Nothing we can do about it, though. What's the point?
no, I'm pretty sure they just tell you, like, yeah, there's nothing, there's really no treatment or anything.
You can cure it with
like,
a stiff margarita.
Sounds
Stiff
like
margarita with a side of lime.
sounds like some co-pays I'd rather not pay. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing...
Brandon said he's drinking a margarita.
No, I said if you get diagnosed with Lyme disease, pour you a stiff margarita with a side of lime.
Nah, they just told me, they're like, maybe go to physical therapy. I was like, sounds expensive. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, I mean, unless you have really good insurance, that's really not, it's like, dude, my legs are weak. I'm not, like, unable to walk.
No, but it's pretty, it affects me on a daily basis. It sucks. Like, getting up and down, when I wake up in the morning, if I sit for too long or I stand for too long, it affects me. I hate it. It's...
Because then you got a cushy office job where you ain't got to do dick. Just sit on your fucking ass and push buttons. Does it affect your finger, bro? Does it affect that or your fucking mouth? I don't think it does because you ain't shut the fuck up.
Being attacked.
You think it's some side effect from COVID?
Yeah, because it started when I had COVID. When I had COVID, that was one of the things that was most pronounced. To get out of bed, I literally had to push my palms down into the mattress and push myself up.
I had it a year ago. I got it one time, and dude, the same thing, dude. Like, I woke up Sunday morning, and I'm kind of like, man, I feel shitty, but, maybe it's just like a slight hangover. By 5 o'clock in the afternoon, dude, I was, like, hit by a truck. Like, I'm like, man, this ain't right. Like, this, and then I ended up taking a test, and, my fever was high, and then for 3 days, I was laid up. But after that, I just felt fine. Like, I tested negative, like, 4 days later. So, I think I had like a mild case, but it was pretty bad, dude. I could see how fucking, elderly people and shit were getting wrecked by it.
Yeah, no, the first time I had it, it was pretty bad. I mean, there was even a few times where my breathing got labored, and I was kind of like, well, this might be it.
Yeah, dude, I'd have been fucking freaking out if that happened. I didn't get nothing like that. I'd be forced to go to the doctor then. Yeah.
Second time I got it, it wasn't bad at all. But that first time, messed me up pretty good. And yeah, my legs have not been the same, and I don't know what's wrong with them. So there's that. Hey, before we get off the phone here with you, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh shit! What?
I heard, and I already addressed this. You'll hear it when you listen to the episode. I heard you saying I dominate the conversation.
Yeah, I think the first episode, come on, man, you can't argue that.
Man, it was just that one damn
He's
story.
gonna try.
The story was like 45 minutes long.
I think it was 35. I clocked it. Yeah, I know. The story was too long, okay? We already covered that, too.
Right, because like a lot of times I'll like put a podcast on like before I go to sleep, or if I jump in the shower, I'll like listen for 20 minutes. And dude, I slept and took like 2 showers, and the story was still
going. And the story was still going. I was gonna make that as a joke.
All right, well, I've learned from I've learned, okay? I'm adapting. I'm telling short stories today.
My thing is, like you just like when it comes like you get a good flow, and then you don't want to like it almost like divides the episode up. Almost it feels like
Yeah,
Other than that, man, I've been enjoying it. I listen. Shit, I probably listened twice. I'm subscribed on mine and Brittany's Google because that's the one that we use on the TV. So I'm trying to get you guys as many subscribers as possible, even if they're not listening.
That's good. That's good. Well, hey, I mean, if we make it, you're riding the gravy train with us. So yeah, you got to do your part.
That's why I called in. I'm like, these guys are trying to edge me out of here.
All right, man. We're gonna get on to our next story.
All right, yeah, man. Take it easy.
All right.
Good talking to you guys.
All right.
See you, Drew.
Thanks for the call.
Yep. Later.
All right.
He don't like being put on blast. I can hear his voice.
Now.
Like, what?
Now, okay, man, we have just pissed away time in this episode.
Yeah.
We are 40 minutes in. So,
Fuck.
okay.
I knew I was feeling like I'm due for a cigarette. So.
We'll talk more about the fear of water, the deep water, because no, it is. I got stories, and it's such a weird fear for me because that same lake you're talking about, Hamlin Lake, when I was younger, this was about 21 years ago or so, I attempted to swim to the bottom of the lake, and I damn near made it. I never told you this story?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Next episode, I'll tell you.
What'd you do? Hold a brick and jump in?
Next episode, I'll tell you. I used to be brave as shit. Like, that was the thing that always drove me.
You used to be dumb as shit, clearly.
Well, yeah. I always felt like if something scares you, no better reason to do it. To push yourself through the fear. But the deep water thing, it has gotten worse and worse. So, my question to you would you traverse the blue hole? Would you swim across it?
With nothing? I don't have no life preserve or nothing?
Well, if you feel like in danger of drowning, I guess you could have like someone going aside you to pull you.
Yeah, as long as there was no risk of being like sucked down by some like crazy like.
But there isn't. You don't know. I'm asking straight up. Would you swim across that blue hole?
Yeah, I ain't no pussy, bro. I'm swimming it. I swim across Bear Lake.
Bear Lake? Bear Lake ain't no 900 feet deep.
No, but
hole.
there's snapping turtles in there.
And when did you swim across Bear Lake?
Me and you swam across Bear Lake. Or was it me and Jason?
No, we didn't. Me and you didn't swim across
It must have been me and Jason then.
I'm going to have to verify this story.
That's fine.
Would you swim across, like on a raft or something?
I think we had life preservers. Like we were just laying on them and kicking.
Okay.
We might not go all the way across, but we got at least halfway.
I honestly don't know that I'd swim across something like that. Like, I think I'd have to have a few to feel loosened up because...
you didn't say sober. I mean, I thought it was implied that I'd be drinking.
Well, no, man. Like, the tubing story I was telling. When they finally threw me off that tube, because everything's a stupid competition with me, and my stepdad had held on for a long time, and I was like, well, I can't be showed up by his old ass. So I hung on, and they were doing everything to throw me off that tube. I even went sideways once, and my body was hidden, so I think it was our cousin Jerry was like, oh, I think he's finally off. And then it came back down, and they're like, nope, he's still on.
Fuck you!
The reason I held on for so long, though, I did not want to go in the water. But I knew I had no chance, because John's at the wheel, and he's like...
He was like Jason hiding in the bathroom.
Determined to throw me off. So when he finally threw me off, like, of course it's fun. You're riding because it's fun, it's exhilarating. But then I'm sitting there, bobbing in the water.
Well, how did you handle wave running then?
When I was younger, it wasn't as bad.
I
think it was like, as I gained more knowledge about life,
or
more ideas were put in my head, it was kind of like, oh God, what's in that water?
Well, it's like a kid walking down a street, not thinking about all the dangers, not to become an adult, and you have a kid, you're like, yeah, you're not walking down a fucking street by yourself, sorry.
So I remember I just bobbing in that water thinking, imagining like prehistoric beasts, and I'm seeing everything like a movie, because that's how my brain works. So I'm seeing it from like beneath me, and here comes its jaws, and I'm just kicking away like I'm a happy little swimmer. And then I got really uncomfortable, and I remember like telling my brain, I'm like, just stop, just shut off, don't do this. And I'm like bartering with my brain. I'm like, please don't torture us. So at this point, I'm like, well, just start swimming toward the boat, because it takes a minute for them to turn. You know, you got to do a big enough sweep, or you don't run someone over. Right. But I was so happy to get out of that water where I was like, all right, I'm done too. But I did my little spectacle. I'm good for the day. But yeah, we'll get more into the fear of water. I'll tell that story next episode. All right, so really quickly, since we went deep with the bow shit today, got another story I want to tell. So a woman apparently, I just heard about this. Here's the headline. Also, article from Popular Mechanics. A woman just emerged after spending 500 days... Sorry, stupid pop-up. 500 days alone in a cave.
Damn.
The headline concludes, she saw some things.
Hallucinations?
Yeah, so here we go. Beatriz Flamini chose to live all alone 230 feet underground in a Spanish cave with no direct contact with anyone outside for 500 days.
Idiot.
Maybe it shouldn't surprise folks, but when her 500-day adventure was up, she really wasn't ready to come out. When they came in to get me, I was asleep, she says, according to Reuters. Quote, I thought something had happened. I said, already? Surely not. I hadn't finished my book. So she's down to writing a book. But she finished about 60 others during her period of underground living. Wrote 60 books.
Wow.
Which was closely monitored by psychologists and researchers, some looking at the physical effects on her body and others specializing in the study of caves. She later added that she never thought about leaving the cave early.
So no sunlight, nothing like that?
Doesn't sound like
What
it.
the fuck?
So I'm sure there's artificial lights down there.
Well, right.
So, in fact, she says, I didn't want to come out. Flamini, 50, entered the cave in Granada, northeast of Malaga, on November 21st, 2021. She didn't get any updates about the world since the time she descended and had instructed the team not to tell her of anything, even a family emergency. Instead of interacting with others, she read books, exercised, drew, painted, knitted woolly hats, and probably did
Woolly
overbeating,
hats.
I imagine. I've been silent for a year and a half, not talking to anyone but myself, she says, according to the BBC. There was a moment when I had to stop counting the days. This is the part that I thought was interesting. The mountaineering athlete said that after about 65 days, she stopped trying to keep track of how long she had been in the cave and had guessed she was underground for about 160 to 170 days when her team came in to get her. While not officially confirmed by Guinness, her team believes the 500 days on the world record for voluntary time living in a cave. Of course, living in a cave for 500 days isn't without its difficulties. At one point, Flamini was covered by flies after an invasion. Flies were like, let's get her! She also dealt with auditory hallucinations. Quote, you are silent and the brain makes it up, she says.
You hear people calling to you and shit. That'd be fucking scary.
Yeah.
Happens to me at the school sometimes. It's real late. I'm getting tired. I swear to God, like something will click on and I swear to God it sounds like a voice.
Maybe the school's haunted.
You're like, huh? People have said that like
Maybe it's
bullshit.
haunted. There was one other hiccup. A purely above-world technical challenge with the router relaying audio and video of her cave experience to the team. So it was a team of people watching her. So they were seeing when she was diddling that bean. I imagine she diddled the bean. Why wouldn't you, right?
I would imagine.
500 days worth of time?
She was like, I realized after the second night that cave salamanders like to crawl into my vagina at night. It was magical. Magical. I just had to stay.
The router went out and the fix required that she move out of the cave into a tent, remaining in isolation for the 8-day process. An 8-day? You complain about our technical glitches? 8 days they were working on this.
They were probably listening to your story.
They had to take many breaks. The cave adventure has given scientists the opportunity to study everything from social changes, such as time perception and disorientation, to physical changes in brain patterns and sleep. While Flamini admitted that a shower, fried eggs and chips, and spending time with friends was next on the agenda, she was planning to let doctors continue to study her, especially before clearing her to continue mountaineering, or for that matter, any other cave adventures. So, pretty interesting story that when they came in to get her, she had thought she'd only been in there for 160, 170 days,
Yeah,
and
that's
500
crazy.
days.
Yeah.
I've read stories before where sometimes just as a matter of trying to cleanse yourself, going out in nature, and that your perception of time will be drastically different.
Believe that.
You will not have the same worries or the same concerns about like life and death that you'll feel.
I feel
more
like in
one
nature, at
with
least you're seeing
nature.
the sun rise and set, so you have at least somewhat of a grasp on that time.
Sure, yeah.
But without that, yeah, you're kind of fucked
cave,
up.
yeah, you know nothing. You got no frame of reference.
You just know the salamanders get hungry for vagina at around 8 o'clock every night.
What kind of salamanders are coming to eat coos?
Blind cave salamanders.
And they're just like, what's that, little salty? I'll just find my way to it using my heightened sense of smell. I wonder if they didn't touch on that, if her senses were heightened, smell or sight.
I would imagine.
I mentioned
probably.
sight, well, if
Maybe
she
not her
wasn't,
sight, but
yeah, because she probably did.
hearing
She
it
had
and
to
smelling.
have lights. Yeah. That'd have been tough, though. Like, it didn't get to the extent of this invasion of flies, but to me, it's like, if I'm being swarmed by insects, Like, depending on how bad it was, I'm like, all right, I'm done. We done.
It'd just be annoying. Even if they weren't biting you, it'd just be fucking annoying having a bunch of flies all over you. Like,
imagine like one fly buzz in your ear. It's annoying
yeah,
as hell.
fucking annoying as shit.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting pretty long in the tooth in this one. So before we wrap up here, I'd like to say, if you'd like to interact with the show, if any of y'all pussies would like to write in and say, hey, Joe, you hogging the microphone. Well, you can actually do that. You don't have to do it through BMO, Jay. You can email us at vagrantsinvandals@gmail.com. That is an N in the middle there, vagrantsandvandals@gmail.com. And, of course, we would like to encourage you to like and follow on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and hit that subscribe button. Pound that subscribe button like it's the sweetest pussy you ever wanted.
Yeah.
And if you're a female, I don't know. Like pound that subscribe button, anyways. Like you riding the big old dick that you've been wanting to ride. And if you're a lesbian or you're gay, make up your own analogies. I don't care. I don't care. I just want you to subscribe. I want all folks, as we're coming into Pride Month. I want all folks from all walks of life, all colors of the human rainbow, to subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Straight up.
All right, now BMO. So since we went on so long with our bullshit today, we are going to. I'm gonna let you call it. I'm going to let you call it here. We got just a little under 10 minutes to go. Do you want to do a janitor's closet segment, or do you want to get into another one of your beefs? Because the beef you had with Jason ain't your only beef, apparently.
I got other beef.
You can't even keep his beef straight.
I got a lot of beef on my plate.
Your beef with the gooder guys? Do you want to get into that? You want to save that for next episode?
Yeah, they're not that.
Take your pick.
They're not as important to me as family. So.
Oh, damn! You hear that, gooder guys? Not as important. So you want to talk janitor's closet?
Yeah, we'll talk janitor's closet.
Well then, let's dive in once more to the janitor's closet. BMO?
One of my responsibilities as a agent of the custodial arts.
I like how you get so serious. Like, no, one of my responsibilities.
So like, the daytime person, they have to do the lunch. They pull down the tables. And it's not an easy process. It's not like overly hard, but it's not easy. So I'm there in the afternoon, so I never have to fucking deal with that. But there happened to be something going on the other day. So they have this company come in. They're getting the food ready. I'm like, hey, are we going to need tables down? Because a lot of fucking people. They're planning for 100. He had to RSVP. So there's like 150 people coming.
What the hell is this event?
It's called Leader and Me Night. And both my boys
Leader
are involved.
and Me or Leader in Me?
Leader in Me.
Leader in Me.
It's not like the church, bro. There's nothing like that going on. No. Pope in me.
Leader in Me.
Pastor in my back door.
No, the Leader in Me says very sweet things into my ear.
No, certain kids are recognized for being what they call exhibiting like their core values, like
sure,
being polite, telling the truth, just being leaders within the school for the class, for the other students to follow as an example.
Like, no, the rest of you pricks get in line.
So they had to put on little things in each classroom, like they led it themselves, like they telling people what to do, and so anyways, April's there working. She's helped serving the food because she volunteers all the time for that shit. I don't get it. I don't volunteer for shit if it's free.
Well, that's what volunteering is.
Yeah, not a big fan.
Yeah.
So anyways, I walk in there to go get my free hot dog because I RSVP'd as one of the parents who was going to be there.
Hey, but you're working.
But I'm working. I still want a fucking hot dog.
So part of you was like, I should get a hot dog as a parent and as an employee.
Well, here's the problem with that.
What's the problem? It's a goddamn hot dog.
Listen, mind you, there's 150 people who are RSVP'd.
Uh-huh.
There is fucking a line from where that food starts being served all the way out to gym, all the way out to school to the road. There's got to be 300-400 people here.
We're talking about a hot dog?
Hot dogs and pulled pork. You got either or. You got one of the two.
Okay.
This is their dinner.
No, and I like pulled pork,
I
but
do not.
That long of a line, I'm probably going to pass.
Because people are coming in. Right, exactly.
I get you. I hear you.
So I go to April, and she's like, you got to go get the principal. We're almost out of food. I'm like, there's like 200 people still in line. How are you out of food? So they had to go buy 20 goddamn large pizzas.
You had to go do this.
No, I got to stay. Because I was
Okay.
like taking out trash as I was filling, covering messes that happened. Schmoozing it up with the young hot mamas. This is how I do when I'm on the job. Like to make sure they're getting everything they need.
Right.
Fresh cup of water.
Sure. You never know.
You never
when an
know.
opportunity might present
You
itself.
never
You might
know.
be able to crawl in there like a salamander yourself.
You don't leave one job without having one lined up.
That's a good piece of advice.
So they go get these 20 large pizzas, which couldn't have been fucking cheap. From Tiffany's, mind you.
Oh,
so
yeah, they didn't go to Little Caesars, huh?
No.
That's my first thought.
Would you believe they ran out of food again? And then they were just like, okay, dude, we're out of food. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah, but there were people who didn't RSVP.
Yes,
so I'd have said, you shit out of luck.
Well, there were people, like they're the school, so they're like, oh, we'll try to accommodate it. You got some fat fuck ask him, his Aunt Rose telling me, because I wasn't there to see this, but his daughter didn't want anything. He's like, well, I'll take her. He's like, you fat fuck, dude. Like, there's hardly enough food to go around, and she doesn't want it. So your fat ass needs to get her helping too, as if you've paid something to be here, and you were entitled to that.
Right. Like people need to be able to read a situation. It's like sometimes pass on the free food. Like you're already getting. Like he was getting one anyways, right? He was
He already got his hot dog.
And he was also like, well, my kid don't want it, so I'll take hers too.
Right.
Knowing there's still a giant line.
And my wife's not here, but give me hers as well. Fuck
come
you.
on.
My big thing with those events is, for the most part, it doesn't really entail me doing too much. There's obviously cleanup. It's fun to see the kids having fun. Usually there's music. If my kids are involved, I'm definitely going to be involved with what's going on. But you always know the bathrooms are going to be fucked. It's amazing. These kids can go all day, all year in school. I don't ever have to wipe shit off anything. Unless I'm picking up a phantom turd off the floor. But I go in that bathroom, of course, shit on the seat, shit on the wall, shit on the floor, toilet paper, just like they TP'd the bathroom. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, you're adults. Like, what were you too fat and big to sit down in that little ass fucking toilet, and you couldn't wipe your own fucking ass? So you had to get up to just bend over to do it, and you're getting fucking shit everywhere. It was a fucking mess. I wasn't happy about it. Plus, one of our fucking toilets is broken, so there's only one toilet to be used. It was a fucking disaster.
I like that you're assuming it was the fat people who fucked up the bathroom.
I know it was. I can tell a fat fuck trying to wipe their own fucking ass not be able to do it when I see it. I've learned. It's always over there. Like, they're like one of those fat people who realize, like, fat people can't wipe from the back. You gotta go underneath.
Whoa, wait. You gotta get... Do you do that?
Fuck yes, I do.
You go underneath.
That's right.
And you're wiping then from the back to the front?
Middle finger, top of crack, pulled down.
Middle finger.
Yeah, I don't have no vagina to worry about getting fucking poo in it.
I didn't suggest you had a vagina.
Well, that's why
women
wipe front to back and men tend to wipe back to front.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the mechanics of the fat man wipe, okay? This is new to me. And it gives you a reach advantage to do that.
Oh, certainly.
To go around.
Oh, I can't go this way, bro. My whole life I've never been able to do that.
Never?
Never. I attempted it one time and I was like, yeah, this ain't for me.
You're just sitting there, you're like, I wonder if...
Like, nope.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I don't get the kids in there. It's so funny. Like, when we were kids, we used to vandalize in the school. And you kind of forget that mentality. But I go into the girls' restroom. Now, our school goes up to 6th grade.
You pervert.
So, because I went to the girls' restroom. I was like, how does that make me a pervert? I was cleaning it. That was some low-hanging fruit. But okay.
Sure was, and I swiped it.
But it's funny because I go into the girls' bathroom and there's a penis drawn on the fucking wall. So I'm like, wow, dude. Like, how immature. I go into the boys' restroom. No, they clearly was trying to draw a vagina, but all they had ever heard was pussy. So they drew a cat. It's a cat face. I'm like,
being that kid, you're like, I might get something good. Wait, I don't actually know what it looks
so
like.
then I erased and I drew an actual vagina.
So I want you to note your boys are right outside.
That's all right. My boys hear plenty of nonsense they probably shouldn't hear. But they get straight A's and they're well behaved and very polite. So
they don't repeat the shit.
Society can go fuck themselves.
All right, so another edition of the janitor's closet in the books, and once again, you got something to say? You want to tell me I've been talking too much, you rotten motherfuckers?
We want to hear from you.
Do. Absolutely. I checked the Gmail. Vagrants
please,
in Vandals.
if you have questions, ask them. If you have show ideas, suggest them. If there's something you want to hear us talk about, We're not fucking psychic. If we were, we wouldn't be doing this shit. So please. Look, I'm jumping in, taking over his fucking shit. The look on his face right now. The look on his face like, this motherfucker just jumped in and took my shit.
You're interrupting the goddamn promo. Yeah, Vagrants and Vandals at gmail.com. Like and follow on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Bimo, any last words for the day?
Normally I tell you guys to fuck off, but I do want to say thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. And, yeah, like and subscribe, obviously. It's the most important thing. And, now, who am I kidding? Go fuck yourself.
And remember, be you vagrant or be you vandal, all rascals and rogues welcome here.